Prepare to unleash your darkest fears this Halloween with 10 scary hidden horror movies you can stream on Prime Video right now. From blood-curdling scares to twisted tales that creep through the night, these brutal selections are hand-picked to haunt your dreams. Grab your candy, lock the doors, and let's dive straight into the shadows. Number 10, The Hole in the Ground.
You're not my son.
Tell me the truth.
I am.
Stop lying. I'm not lying.
Sarah O'Neill, exhausted and trying to leave behind a painful past, relocates to a remote corner of rural Ireland with her young son, Chris. But their fragile new beginning fractures when Chris wanders into the woods near a vast sinkhole and returns changed. As Sarah grapples with creeping doubts, strange behaviors, and eerie warnings from a mysterious neighbor, she becomes convinced that the boy she brought home is no longer her child. In a descent of paranoia and supernatural dread, she struggles to uncover the truth lurking beneath the earth. Directed by Lee Cronin, the film unfolds as a quiet, psychological haunted child story that leans on creeping atmosphere, maternal fear, and the distortion of identity. Number 9. Halloween, 20 years later.
Here's the door. Lock it.
20 years after surviving the massacre in Haddonfield, Laurie Strode lives under a new name, hiding as a headmistress at an elite California boarding school. But the past never stays buried. As Halloween approaches, her long-lost brother Michael Myers returns, carving a bloody path straight to her door. Now a mother, Laurie must battle not just the killer who haunts her nightmares, but the fear that history will repeat itself through her son. The isolated school becomes a hunting ground, and the walls close in with each silent breath. Directed by Steve Miner, the film resurrects the classic slasher with a sleek 90s edge, grounding its horror in raw survival and generational trauma. Number 8, Starry Eyes.
In the earth, join us in the sky.
Sarah Walker, a hungry young actress in Hollywood, is desperate to escape her dead-end job and soul-crushing auditions. When she's invited to a mysterious callback for a powerful production company, the opportunity feels too good to be true. And it is. What begins as an unusual audition spirals into a descent of occult rituals, body horror, and soul-destroying ambition. Sarah's transformation becomes physical and horrifying, as she's forced to decide how much of herself she's willing to lose for a taste of stardom. Reality fractures with every step, and the spotlight she's always craved becomes a searing flame that consumes her. Starry Eyes is a gruesome Hollywood nightmare, where dreams are made through blood and sacrifice, and the true cost of fame is carved into the flesh. Number 7, Lights Out. Rebecca thought she'd escaped the haunting presence that once stalked her childhood, an entity tied to her unstable mother and only visible in total darkness. But when her younger half-brother Martin begins seeing the same terrifying figure, she's forced to return and confront what she left behind. As the lights flicker and shadows stretch, a deadly pattern emerges. The thing lurking in the dark is real, and it kills. Rebecca races against time and dwindling power to uncover its origin before it consumes them all. With every light switch, fear pulses, and the boundary between safety and horror is measured in lumens. Directed by David F. Sandberg, Lights Out weaponizes the most primal childhood fear: what hides when the lights go off. Number 6, Secret Window.
Only thing that matters.
Mort Rainey, a once successful mystery writer haunted by betrayal and isolation, retreats to a remote cabin to battle writer's block and a bitter divorce. But peace shatters when a menacing stranger named John Shooter accuses him of stealing a story, an accusation that spirals into a deadly game of obsession, madness, and unraveling truths. As Mort digs deeper, strange events multiply, and the line between reality and fiction dissolves into something far more dangerous. Though not strictly horror, the film delivers a slow, burning, cerebral descent into paranoia and identity fracture. With every twist, it tightens the noose around Mort's crumbling psyche. Number 5, The Craft. Sarah, a troubled teen with a haunted past, enrolls at a strict Catholic high school in Los Angeles, where she's drawn into a clique of outcasts who practice witchcraft. What begins as an intoxicating escape from bullying and trauma soon morphs into something far more sinister as the girl's spells grow darker, more personal, and more dangerous. Bound by blood and vengeance, the Coven's unity fractures under the weight of jealousy and power, turning friendship into a battlefield of curses and control. As Sarah struggles to resist the rising tide of malevolence, the film explores teenage alienation, spiritual corruption, and the seductive danger of power unchecked. Directed by Andrew Fleming, The Craft is a supernatural horror thriller steeped in shadow, where belief cuts deeper than any blade. Number 4, Saint Maud.
This is life and death on another level.
Maud, a reclusive young nurse shaped by past guilt, devotes her life to devout Catholicism after a mysterious trauma. She becomes the private caregiver to Amanda, a once glamorous dancer dying of terminal cancer, and grows obsessed with the belief that she's been chosen to redeem Amanda's lost soul. As Maud's faith twists into fanaticism, visions and self-punishment surge, and what is divine mission becomes a torturous spiral into delusion. In the shivering stillness between prayer and panic, the film probes loneliness, madness, and the haunting danger of piety unchecked. Directed by Rose Glass, Saint Maud is a chilling psychological descent that lingers not in jump scares but in the quiet terror of conviction gone astray. Number 3, Corpse Bride.
Till that a soul kept the whole time next to the graveyard by the old oak tree on a dark foggy night at a quarter.
Victor Van Dort, a nervous groom-to-be, fumbles through his wedding rehearsal in a moonlit forest and accidentally slips a ring onto what he believes is a branch, but is actually the finger of Emily, a long-dead woman. Emily then rises from her grave, convinced she's now his bride, and whisks him away to the land of the dead, leaving Victor's intended Victoria bewildered in the living world. Torn between two existences and the promises he's made, Victor must navigate spectral politics, forbidden love, and the boundaries between life and death. Though not classic horror, the film submerges its fantasy in mourning, longing, and eerie beauty. Directed by Tim Burton, Corpse Bride is a gothic stop-motion fable where the dead sing, the living ache, and love haunts beyond the grave. Number 2, Them.
We do this till it gets done.
Them isn't a movie. It's a horror anthology series, but it's so bone-deep terrifying I had to include it. Season 1 follows the Emery family, who moved to an all-white Los Angeles suburb in 1953 only to find themselves hunted by both monstrous neighbors and an even darker supernatural presence lurking in the shadows. Oppression oozes through the walls, and every episode tightens the grip of paranoia, grief, and fury until reality collapses. Season 2 shifts to 1991 Los Angeles, following a detective unraveling a string of bizarre murders while a growing evil circles ever closer. Created by Little Marvin and directed by talents like Ty West and Nelson Craig, Them blends historical trauma with relentless horror. It's a beautifully brutal series where the real nightmare isn't just the ghosts, but what created them. Number 1, Sweeney Todd, the demon barber of Fleet Street.
No Barker. Sweeney Todd now. And he will have his revenge. Where's my wife?
She's gone.
Benjamin Barker returns to Victorian London after being wrongfully exiled. Now calling himself Sweeney Todd, he reopens his barber shop on Fleet Street with the single, consuming goal of vengeance. Beneath the floorboards, his partner in crime, Mrs. Lovett, bakes pies from the victims he dispatches, turning murder into meat and grief into grotesque commerce. Judge Turpin, whose corruption ruined Barker's life, winds up in Todd's deadly chair as revenge twists into madness and bloodlust. In its operatic horror, the film's melody becomes the razor's edge between love, loss, and destruction. Directed by Tim Burton, Sweeney Todd is a gorgeously macabre horror thriller, drenched in Victorian fog where every note is sharpened by vengeance, and no soul escapes the shadows. Here are 4 other movies you have to see. Carrie.
If you have a taste for terror,
A shy, bullied high school girl discovers her telekinetic powers and unleashes them after a cruel prank at prom. Her wrath turns a night of celebration into an unforgettable, blood-soaked nightmare, forever changing her town's legacy of cruelty. With religious repression, teen cruelty, and explosive revenge, Carrie is a tragic symphony of horror. Master.
Then I'm ferreting out who's been terrorizing the student body.
Three women at an elite New England university confront chilling manifestations of racism and supernatural terror. As the school's dark history resurfaces, their personal fears bleed into a waking nightmare that may not be imagined. Master weaves psychological dread with social commentary, making every hallway feel like it's watching. The Exorcist.
That thing isn't my daughter.
It is he who commands you! The power of Christ compels you!
When a young girl becomes possessed by an ancient demon, her desperate mother enlists two priests to perform a dangerous exorcism. What follows is a harrowing clash between faith and malevolence, where the cost of salvation is unbearable. A landmark in horror, The Exorcist delivers fear that transcends the screen and crawls under your skin. Dead Time Stories.
It's time to say your prayers, because all your nightmares come to life.
A babysitting uncle tells his nephew twisted versions of classic fairy tales, each one a grotesque blend of gore, monsters, and dark comedy. With witches, werewolves, and reanimated corpses, these bedtime tales become a wicked carnival of horror. Dead Time Stories is a cult anthology that turns childhood nostalgia into pure nightmare fuel.